The Japanese community is talking about censorship of anime within China, and this is what this Japanese poster had to say. It seems that the outfits in the One Piece anime are completely different between China and Japan, and that's become a hot topic. And at a glance, you can instantly see that is indeed the case. 12.1 million views on this post, and there is literally over 1,000 comments, but one of the big things that is really scary about this post, and why I'm even making this video on this, is because majority of the comment section is actually pro-censorship, and there are even people within Japanese commenting and saying that the Chinese censorship is way better than the original anime's depiction of the characters. You even have individuals, like, for instance, calling out Oda. For instance, I guess there's some good things about the revised version, huh? Somehow the original ones let you catch a glimpse of Oda's kinks, and it's a bit, and obviously what they're implying, it's a bit much, they don't like it, and, you know, this is a Japanese poster, and this is what's really concerning me, is that there is a lot of Japanese posters here in these comment section being very pro-China, pro-Japanese censorship, pro-censorship of anime. This is not like your typical, the West being pro-censorship, the typical COVID anime tourists that are pro-censorship of anime. This is the Japanese community. Even if it's only a sample size of 1,000 comments, this is Japanese community members being happy about censorship of anime. And I feel like this is extremely concerning. I'm not gonna lie, this actually blew me away when I read this, because when I saw this post in Japanese, usually I think, or I believed that, you know, the Japanese community would be like, you know, yeah, I don't want to see the work censored, because obviously One Piece is very iconic, it's like a big cultural phenomenon within Japan, and so when I read the comments, I expected to see a lot of people anti-censorship, but then I was greeted with literally the Japanese community siding with the Chinese censorship. But there's also something else that's pretty interesting about this comment section. This guy right here, Taylor, that says, I don't know, I prefer the Chinese version. The one thing I agree with China on is moral decency. And this one's just incredibly ironic, them saying this. They're just like, wow. What's interesting about this individual is that they follow me, but they're pro-censorship. And I'm just like, wait a minute, whoa, back up here. You follow me that has been a massive advocate for anti-censorship and allowing freedom of expression within fictional content, but you follow me in your pro-censorship? That's weird. That's kind of weird, but back onto the main topic. So these designs are making the rounds and people are talking about them. So let's take a hard look at this. So the left side is the original designs that aired in the One Piece anime that Japan and most of the world has seen. On the right side is the Chinese censored versions that people are now talking about. And let's be blunt here. China censors things all the time. They remove, ban things, and all sorts of stuff over and over again. It's a common reoccurring theme within China. Like, they ban Winnie the Pooh, they ban My Hero Academia, they will, you know, ban certain words and phrases. You don't technically have freedom of expression or speech within China, just gonna say it like it is. And more or less, they've always been individuals within that country and the government that advocate and ban any form of content that they deem icky or whatever, might hurt them or something like that. They are very pro-censorship. So it's nothing relatively groundbreaking or new to see, like, for instance, an anime censored within China. But the reason why I'm making this video is not because of the China censorship, but because of the support it's actually getting from within Japan. That is what concerns me. And so let's take a hard look at this. Now, obviously, One Piece's designs here on the left, yes, they're very fan service heavy. Obviously, you can definitely see that Oda is quite the opie guy. He loves his opie. He likes his side opie. He likes the frontal. He likes the downward. He is a big advocate for the opie within his series. It's always been a thing. I literally talked about this yesterday. He dedicated a whole arc, for instance, Egghead, trying to refine and get better at drawing butts. So he has always been someone that adds fan service and, you know, likes to sexualize his female characters within his story. It's nothing relatively brand new. And what blows me away about this conversation, especially, you know, this is like 1,000 episodes deep. What blows me away is that there's people that have now watched 1,000 episodes of One Piece, and this is like where they're upset. They draw the line here and say it shouldn't exist. And I'm like, wait a minute. How do you get through 1,000 episodes of One Piece and you hate the very content within it? It's just like, I couldn't do that. Like, if I disliked something to such a degree and it annoyed me to where I was being pro-censorship, I could not watch that series or support that. So, it blows my mind that people are so against the left side here that has watched so much content of One Piece or read so much content of One Piece. But it's not just that. It's like, One Piece is a shonen. At the end of the day, its demographic is meant for teenagers, boys. And so, having people being upset with him having female characters showing things, it's just like, why? Why would anyone be upset about that? Because you're not technically a part of the demographic. And, I mean, Nami has always been heavily fan service heavy. Like, she has. Like, anyone trying to advocate and say she isn't is straight up lying. Same with Robin. Like, Robin as well. It just, I don't know. Seeing this kind of conversation around One Piece just blows me away. Like, I was scrolling and I literally saw this random Japanese comment. I translated it, and I thought I was going to see a lot of people being against the Chinese censorship, but in fact, I was greeted with people being very pro-censorship, and I'm floored. By the way, there is some comments that are calling this out, like, for instance, this 4Kid thing of, like, 4Kids entertainment stuff, which, by the way, this is what 4Kids did in the past, years ago, for instance, like with the Arlong stuff with Nami's mother. Like, these people that are pro-censorship are, advocating for just the removal of, like, certain expressions within work, problematic content, or what they deem problematic. It's legitimately insane, just like how many people are pro the left side here of censorship, instead of allowing the artist to show what it actually meant it was supposed to be. And that gets into the big point here is, just because, like, fan service content's getting, censored here, for instance, let's say you don't like fan service, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm glad this, apparent problematic content's getting censored. Censorship doesn't stop at this. It goes into a much greater field of censorship. Like, for instance, this is a very good example, and it's just like watering things down is a domino effect to where it gets worse and worse as time goes on, and that's exactly what this is. You could see this. Like, One Piece has already been hit by this in the past, and you can dare say the reason why One Piece took such a long time to really blow up in the West was because of how 4Kids handle the anime adaptation and censoring so much content within the show. So what I'm trying to say is that censorship inherently is not good. It's not a good thing at all, and seeing fictional content being ruined like this is absolutely disgusting to me, and it disgusts me to see so many comments on the side of censorship. Blows my mind. I will leave it at that, though. I wanted to talk about the situation because it aggravated me a little bit, and I just couldn't believe what I was reading. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below, how you feel about this, but be safe, stay healthy, Chibi out.